Well, hello there and welcome to Sefton Park, in particular the grotto, which you can probably see behind me, together with my little electric town bike, which I use quite a lot. This introduction really is nothing to do with Sefton Park in any way, shape or form. I've come down here this morning on a beautiful Sunday morning. Lots of people about, dog walkers, people just enjoying the late autumn sunshine. But the subject of the video today is somewhere about 6 to 8 miles away from where I live, a place called Bidston Hill, of historical interest and importance. A couple of good locations there. Didn't take a great many images, but nevertheless I hope you enjoy the film. So, Bidston Hill is on the Wirral Peninsula, which separates Liverpool from the coast of North Wales, and Bidston Hill itself is about 100 acres in total, and it's 230 feet above sea level, or 70 meters if you want to do it in metric. So this was just to give you an idea of where I was. And you can see that the green area of Bidston Hill runs basically north to south. One of the more obvious areas of interest on Bidston Hill is the Windmill. The present structure dates to 1800, although it's believed there has been a windmill up there since the 16th century. It has always been used for grinding flour, and as you can tell from this, it's not the most photogenic windmill in the world. The tower seems to be coated in a fairly sort of drab grey, almost concrete-like mix. I'm not quite sure what the technical term would be. But nevertheless, the sails are intact. It has been restored on several occasions, and I do believe that it can be visited. It's open to the public a few days every year. You can see that it's actually been cut into the sandstone bedrock. So this was the first image that I took on the day. The sun is at my back, so I'm facing more or less due north, and I quite like the way that the overhanging tree branches just tie in the top of the frame. Little less happy with the amount of foreground that is evident, so it was a case of cropping and losing some of the foreground and emphasizing those wonderful cotton wool clouds that you can see pretty obviously in this second image. So as I say, the hill is a sandstone outcrop, and it's covered with a mix of scrub woodland, including oak and birch trees, and in various places the bare rock is visible as you make your way from south to north in my case. One of the most interesting things about it, and partly the reason for the title of this video, is the fact that Wirral is the only place in the United Kingdom with documented Viking heritage, and there are some ancient rock carvings. This one is of a sun goddess, believed to be round about 9th century in origin. And there are 2 or 3 of these ancient carvings to be found as you make your way up to the northern end of the hill. This is just a view looking back to the windmill as we make our way further north. This is the Ordnance Survey marker post, and not far away is a very interesting Viking carving of a horse's head. Most unusual. And of course there are many more modern examples of graffiti carved into the rock. Courting couples have left their initials over the years. But as we head further to the north, the views open out, and you do get from the east a fantastic panoramic view looking across the River Mersey with Liverpool in the distance there. A hint of a landscape photograph here, a little bit unusual for me, but I was quite taken by the way this dead tree just pointed skyward. I decided in post that it needed a lot more contrast, brought out the detail in the foreground and emphasised the sky with a neutral density. But then as we move to the far north end of Bidston Hill, we come to the Victorian side of the tale and the Observatory, which was built in 1866. And although yes, it obviously did house telescopes, the prime reason for it being established up here was to accurately record both time and tide, obviously of extreme importance to a maritime city like Liverpool. And for many years it was responsible to fire the 1 o'clock gun down here on the docks in Birkenhead. I believe it was electrically connected to the cannon and was fired at exactly 1 o'clock every day. So going back to the observatory, my first image, the still image, was taken turning the smartphone upside down so I could get a really low angle, which is great. It's a nice facility to have, but framing is difficult when you're down this low. I was practically touching the sandstone. So in post I had to both square off the horizon line, and I decided I wanted a little bit less of foreground showing. So you can see with this image that's been processed that I've straightened up the horizon, and the waterline now comes in exactly in the right hand bottom corner of the image. And then literally right next door to the observatory is Bidston Lighthouse, which was built in 1872 and was paired with the one at Leasoe down on the coast to indicate to ships entering the Mersey a safe channel through the sandbanks. All I had to do with this one in post was to straighten out the converging verticals slightly. You have to be careful not to overdo this because quality can suffer, but I think that's a fairly successful result. And then just to emphasize the sort of views that one can get looking east over the top of Bidston Hill towards Liverpool, I turned to the right to take this sort of image before dropping down into the woodland, and you can quite clearly see Liverpool's Anglican Cathedral and the Radio City Beacon Tower in the distance there. But then it was a case of dropping down into the scrub oakland, the ancient woodland that you can see in the middle distance. Lovely colours in the fern and bracken. I'm not a fantastic photographer when it comes to woodland imaging because it always seems to be a bit messy. This was the only one that I thought was half decent and worth showing to you. Shooting into the sun, but nevertheless I decided in post it needed a big boost of contrast, and in particular where the sun has washed out the top half of the image, I wanted to improve that quite dramatically. There we go. So I hope you've enjoyed that little tour, and we'll just wrap up with me speaking to the camera. So there we are. I hope you enjoyed that little outing to Bidston Hill. I want to do some more of these vlogs. I'm very much a novice, as you can probably tell, but hopefully I will improve as time goes by. Thanks for watching. Keep taking images. Stay safe. Bye for now.